At first, we see a time when there's a huge water crisis on Earth. Areas that used to be lush and green have now turned into deserts because there's no water. More than half the people have died from water scarcity. The few who are left are living in places where water is still available, where they can find pretty much everything they need. But as always happens, no matter what problems come, the rich don't really suffer. Something similar is happening here too. Big private companies are pumping water from deep underground. They've set up powerful machines in different places because there are still some spots where water can be drawn from the ground. Whatever water they manage to get, they supply it to the city where the rich people live. But the poor folks have no choice but to stay in the village. There's a family called the Homs living there. Nest, the father; Catherine, the sister; the mother, their eldest daughter Mary; and their younger son, Jerem. They struggle a lot living out in the village. Nest owns a big piece of land where his father used to farm, but they're facing water shortages. Nest wasn't able to do any farming on his land, so he talked to the government. He told them his land is still fertile, meaning if it gets water, crops can grow. But no one really trusted Nest's word. So Nest started digging the land himself, hoping that by some chance water would come up, and then he could farm again. He wanted to sell those crops to cover his family's water needs. One day, at the spot on Nest's land where he had installed a machine to draw water, two thieves showed up, trying to steal the machine. Nest, as soon as he found out, he quickly grabbed his gun and headed there. When the thieves realized Nest had arrived, they made up an excuse, saying they had come from far away and would really appreciate some water. Then one of the thieves pulled out a gun, trying to shoot Nest. But Nest dealt with thieves like these every day. So before the thief could fire, Nest shot and killed him. When Nest checked his machine, he sadly found out that the small amount of fuel left was all gone, meaning now he had to find fuel from somewhere far away. You need to prepare the spot and set up a machine so water can be drawn from there. Next, Nest goes to the watermen. Actually, watermen are a group of people who work for private companies. They install big machines to pump water, which they supply to the city. Then, they handle delivering alcohol or drinking water, carrying everything on their backs from the city and giving it to these watermen. Among the watermen, there's a guy named Max who has a good relationship with Nest. Nest tells Max, "Look, brother, you've set up these big machines here, and a little ways from here is my land where some water used to come through. But because of your big machines, the little bit of water that used to reach my land has now stopped. Can you move the line for your machines somewhere else?" Max says that's not his job. "If you want to talk, you can talk to our boss." Nest knew the boss wouldn't listen to him, so he got upset and started heading home with Jeremy. But when someone's luck is bad, it doesn't take long for other bad things to happen. That's exactly what happened to Nest. On the way back, his donkey tripped over a rock and fell down, breaking one of its legs. The poor donkey was already suffering from thirst, and now with a broken leg, it was in even more pain. To ease its suffering, Nesto ended up putting it down right there. He had no other choice. After that, he went to an auction house where old robots are repaired and sold. Nesto was there to buy a robot that could handle deliveries for him. At the auction, a guy named Flame came to bid on the robot too, but in the end, Nesto got it. Nest and Jerome were really happy to finally have something useful in hand. Then they went to the hospital where Catherine was staying. She had been in an accident a while ago and couldn't walk, so they had put her on walkers that help her move around. Since Nestor didn't have the money to bring the walker technology home, he and his whole family came to visit Catherine at the hospital. After leaving the hospital, Nestor ran into a guy named Roby. Roby was a good friend, but didn't have a place to stay, and he was mentally fragile too. So Nest gave Roby and his family whatever little water he had, even though water was really scarce for him. His heart was just that big. Now, whenever Nest came back home from there, Flam would come up to him and say, "Hey, let me borrow your robot for a bit. I've got some important stuff to do." But Nest knew Flam was a troublemaker and would make a big scene when returning the robot, so he flat out refused to give it to him. Oh, and by the way, Flam is Nest's daughter's name. Mary is hanging out a lot with Chuck. Nest has told Mary many times to stay away from Flame because he's not a good guy. But Mary, having never been hurt before, doesn't listen to Nest. In fact, she hates her dad because of Flame. Now, because she's ignoring her parents, we'll have to see if something bad happens to Mary. The next day, Nest was digging a hole somewhere else, hoping to find water, but the big machine pipelines have dried up the whole area, so Nest gets disappointed again. While wandering around the hole, Nest was talking to Jeremy. So, when I went to the city, I saw this girl whose hair was short, but she looked really beautiful. Now you've grown up, you say you won't fix things with her. I don't know how much longer we'll be alive in this situation, so we should spend the time we have in a good way. Nest and his son have a good time chatting like this. Then whenever Nest comes home, Mary says, "Dad, I want my money. I'm going out with Flamer. I'm suffocating here." Nest replies, "Suffocating? I've been taking care of you since you were little. I've done everything for you, tried to give you everything, yet you say stuff like this." But Mary just snaps back, saying she doesn't live here, she's just surviving. I don't want this kind of life. Even after Nest tries to explain things to Mary, when she still won't listen, Nest locks Mary in a room and bars the window so she can't meet Flame. Later, whenever Nest goes into town to get supplies, he finds out their robot has gone missing from the garage. Seeing this, he gets really stressed and starts freaking out, realizing that this mess can't be the work of anyone but Flame. No one else can do it, so he quickly comes to the waterman to ask if Flame has arrived here. But as soon as he gets there, Max and the other watermen attack him. They all start beating him up, saying he stole their supplies, which they worked hard for, and maybe sold them somewhere else. Nest says, "What are you saying? I came here myself to ask if Flame brought my robot here. But instead, you guys are the ones beating me up." Nest figured out that instead of Flame, someone had taken the supplies and stolen them away somewhere else, instead of giving them to the watermen. So Nest, not just letting it go, tries to get away from the watermen and starts looking for Flame. After searching for a while, Nest finds Flame, and his suspicion was right. Flame had stolen the supplies and was comfortably eating them. Nest points a gun at Flame to scare him and starts taking him to the waterman to say that it wasn't him who stole the supplies, but Flame. But while they were walking, or Nest was really exhausted, especially since he had run out of water, so Flame tempted him, saying, "I drank some of the booze from the supply. But there's still a little left. Let's split it and drink it all. The watermen might kill us for it, but if we don't drink anything here, we're definitely going to die." Nest agreed to this, but as soon as he freed Flame from the rope, Flame attacked him. Poor Nest was already super thirsty, and after getting beaten up, he started bleeding heavily. Then, Flame forcefully took all the remaining booze, and he poured water on the Nest, so that when the waterman sees it, he'll believe that the Nest stole the supply and drank their alcohol. Also, Flame keeps beating the Nest and ties it up with the robot, so everyone thinks the robot went out of control and attacked the Nest, which leads to its death. And that's how poor Nest dies, with everyone blaming the robot for taking its life. Later, we see Jerma getting upset after losing his father. He takes out all his anger on the robot, trying to break it, because he believes the robot took his father's life. Then Flang comes to Germ and says, "What's the point of breaking the robot? It'll be useful to us later, so don't break it. Don't worry, I'm here. I'll take care of your family and look after your daughter." Later, Flame goes to Max and says, "I need a pipeline so I can farm on Nest's land." He shows Max a knife and says, "Remember this knife. The day you guys attacked Nest for supplies, Nest took this knife from you. He took it, and I found this knife right next to his body, where your name is also written. Everyone knows about you and him fighting, so I was thinking, should I tell everyone that during the fight, when Max couldn't kill Nest, he took another chance and killed Nest, then blamed the robot for it?" When Max heard this, he got scared and agreed with Flame. He secretly gave the company a hidden pipeline through Nest's land, which made the land start getting water again. Everyone was really happy because farming started there once more. Flame plows every day. He was able to grow crops and soon started seeing the fruits of his hard work. The whole field began to flourish. Seeing this, Germ and the others were really happy. Meanwhile, Flame and Mary were in a relationship, and later they got married. After the wedding, Flame was very happy and thought that all of this was thanks to Nest. If Nest were still alive, neither would Mary have married him, nor would he have gotten this land. After Nest passed away, Flame took everything over. A few days later, some bank employees showed up, and after hearing what they said, Flame felt like the ground was slipping from beneath his feet. The bank employees said, "Move aside. The land where your crops have grown was locked by Nesto, but that land isn't yours. It belongs to the bank, and so will the crops that grew there." Flame said, "You should have told me this before my crops grew. If you had told me earlier, I would have looked for another piece of land." But the bank officials didn't listen and said, "If you can't pay the money within a week, forget about this land." And then they left. Flame became very worried, thinking that Nesto had tricked him badly, like a beggar. He had mortgaged the lands he owned, so now the question was where the money would come from. Flame found a way. He decided to sell their robot, and that's exactly what he did. He loaded Nest's robot into the car and told Jeremy, "I'm going to sell the robot so I can pay off the bank loan with the money I get." But Flame wasn't a good guy. He went to Roby and said, "Come with me. I'll arrange food and water for you." Hearing this, poor Roby took his kid and went with Flame, leaving his wife behind. So Flame decides to sell Roby's kid and plans to deposit the money in the bank. Whenever Roby finds out about this, he starts arguing with Flame. But where Flame sold the kid, arguing wasn't allowed. The deal was final. No backing out. Then those bad guys shoot Roby dead. They also try to shoot Flame because they thought Flame sold the kid only with Roby's permission. Flame barely manages to run away from there. He barely made it out alive and left the robot right there because he had to tell Jeremy that it was the robot, not the kid, who survived. Nest never really allowed Mary to go with Flame anyway. Anyway, after paying off the bank loan, Flame gets the land back. Meanwhile, the robot starts making its way to its real owner, because when those thugs shot at Flame, some bullets hit the robot, which triggered its default setting to turn on. That's why it started heading to its original owner, who lives in the city. His name is Kelvin. Every time he sees the robot, he's surprised. Whose robot has come back? The robot had Nestor written on it, so Kelvin tries to contact Nestor using the radio, hoping he'll come and take his robot back. But whenever Jermaine turns on the radio, he's shocked because Flame had said he sold that robot. Yet now this guy named Kelvin is claiming the robot is his. So Jermaine decides, if Kelvin wants to return the robot, that's fine. Jermaine will just go and get it himself. That day, Jermaine sees Roby's wife, who, Proby and his kid didn't come back, so now he's shocked and waiting for his child to return, holding a doll. Flame shows up and takes him away from there. Seeing this, Jerome gets suspicious. Something's definitely going on that Flame's hiding. Anyway, the next day, Jerome sets out to go to the city, but at the city border, Garter stops him because he's under 18. Right then, a girl named Anna shows up. She's secretly involved in smuggling people here. She tells Jerome, "Come with me. I can get you into the city, and it won't cost much." Whenever Jeremy sees Anna, he gets surprised because she looks exactly like the little girl with short hair Nest had told him about. Jeremy asks her about Nest, but Anna doesn't know Nest, so Jeremy says nothing more. Then Anna hides Jeremy in a cargo truck heading to the city, and thanks to that, Jeremy finally reaches the city. Once in the city, he meets Calvin, who gives him back his robot and also fixes the bullet holes on the robot's body. The robot's settings were fixed, but whenever Jerome looked at the robot closely, he realized it had a camera that recorded videos like a laser. The videos weren't super clear, but clear enough to see. In those videos, Jerome watched moments with his father, Nestor. One video even showed the time when Flame hit Nestor and then tied him up with the robot. Seeing all this, Jerome was shocked. He finally found out the truth, that his father didn't die in an accident. Jerome, pause, and then he brings it home. But as soon as he gets there, he doesn't tell Flame that Flame did all this. She won't be able to handle it, especially since she's pregnant. So Jeremy comes up with a plan and tells Flame, "I heard Roby is calling you." Hearing this, Flame gets stressed because Roby is dead. So who could be calling? Flame tells Jeremy, maybe it's someone else. Seeing the plan failing, Jeremy writes a letter and sends it to Flame, so that when Flame reads it, she thinks Roby sent it. Flame looks at it and thinks Roby sent her that. Flame is being told to go to the place where Nest died. Flame senses something's wrong and thinks there's some trouble. So he decides to check out that spot where he killed Nest. But at one point, he accidentally falls into a hole and breaks his leg. He starts calling for help, and just then, Jerome shows up holding a gun. Seeing Jerome so angry, Flame realizes Jerome knows everything. Turns out, this was all part of Jerome's plan. Flame tells him, "Look, I'm sorry for what happened to him, but you know how much Mary and you mean to me. I told them that if anything happens to me, Mary won't be able to handle it, so let me go." But German didn't listen and just shot him dead. Then you see, he resets the robot's memory, so Mary never finds out the truth. He doesn't want Mary to know. A few days later, when Flame doesn't come home, Mary gets really worried. German says Flame was never a good person and that he left you. Hearing this, Mary feels really sad and pushes all her love for Flame out of her heart. German started hating her instead and took his revenge very calmly. After that, German and Mary began running the household. Now they even have land where they grow crops and sell them. They plan to bring their mother home. And with this mixed feeling, the movie ends here. If you liked the video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, hit the bell icon to stay updated. See you in the next video. Take care and stay healthy, everyone.